your license need saving? Do the wise thing. Call Wise Man Lawyers. Does your license need saving? Do the wise thing. Call Wise Man Lawyers. Don't face that court alone. Let the Wise Man team get you back on the road. Does your license need saving? Do the wise thing. Call the Wise Man team at Wise Man Lawyers.
All right, today I'm at Roma Magistrates Court, about a 5 and a bit hour drive west of Brisbane. Ordinarily I'd fly to Roma, but the flights are pretty much in disarray and I felt like a road trip, so I drove up yesterday, stayed at Roma last night. Client today was charged with repeat drug driving. There's two types of drug driving. There's what's called under the influence of a drug, meaning you're high on drugs, which wasn't the case today, and then there's a lesser charge of drive whilst relevant drug present, meaning you've consumed it at some point. The effects have worn off, but there's still traces of it in your system. My client had been charged previously within the last 5 years, once for relevant drug present, but as well once for mid-range drink driving, a reading of .102. They were both within the last 5 years. The legislation basically considers, for the sake of penalties, drink and drug driving to be the same thing. So effectively, he's got two previous in the last 5 years. Worst case for repeat drug driving is a lifetime loss of licence, and the mandatory minimum 6 months. Again, this was his third type offence of this type in the last 5 years. So, you know, we do see people going by themselves with lawyers that don't specialise, not getting a lot of change out of the 12 to 18 month mark. With regard to the recording of convictions, if it's a first offence and it's appropriate based on the person's employment, I will push for no conviction recorded. This is a traffic offence, relevant drug present, not a criminal offence. But if there's previous offending, I rarely, if ever, push for no conviction recorded a second time. Especially where, so basically I didn't act for him previously, but the drink driving previous there was a recorded conviction, but the relevant drug present previous there wasn't a recorded conviction. So even though his previous drug driving was no conviction recorded, he'd been given a recorded conviction for this type of offence previously for the mid-range drink driving. But even if there was no drink driving, if you've got a previous drug driving with no conviction recorded, you're never going to get it a second time. And again, I rarely push for it, but in this instance, this guy, absolute best case scenario, was facing a 6 month disqualification. You can't get a work licence if you've lost your licence previously in the last 5 years. So absolute best case was 6 months off the road, and as I said, worst case is lifetime or 12 to 18 months if you're not properly represented. But he held a commercial weapons licence, and he works part-time as a commercial, pest shooter. So what I'm getting at is, if he loses primary employment, if he was to get no conviction recorded for the weapons licence and able to keep his commercial weapons licence, he could earn some money still shooting roos and whatnot. So on that basis, I thought it was worth pushing for no conviction recorded a second time, even though, if I'm honest, I thought it was doomed to fail. But sometimes when you're running out of options, you've just got to try and leverage what you've got the best you can. So the long and short of it is, I was pushing for no conviction recorded a second time. Again, if I'm honest, it was doomed to fail, but sometimes it's worth just pushing it. And if you're persuasive enough and you can, pull on the magistrate's heartstrings hard enough, you can get an increased level of compassion, for want of a better word, in certain circumstances. The magistrate's obviously got to balance the difficulties that the person, the family in question, are going to suffer versus community expectations and the need to set, an example with regard to repeat offending. But again, it was a balancing act, and I sort of thought, look, if I push this hard enough, I might be able to tip it in my client's favour. So anyway, I was trying to get no conviction recorded a second time, and I was also trying to get the minimum 6 months. With regard to preparing, we got our client to complete the reformatory course we get all of our clients to do. got him to get character references based on a template we provide all of our clients. There's an online form we get our clients to complete. Like one of the ways we're so good at getting the outcomes we get is that, you know, we're very good, Clancy and I, at putting magistrates in the shoes of our clients. And one of the tools we use to be able to do that is we've created this online form that allows you at your leisure to, you know, maybe on a Sunday afternoon with a cuppa, take your time giving me, because if as you can imagine, if I'm on the phone to you, you know, what do you do for a living, you know, blah blah blah, you're not going to think properly. You're just going to give spur of the moment responses, and I'm not going to Clancy and I won't have a meaningful information to work with. Whereas if you've taken, you know, 40 minutes of your time while you're relaxed and having a cuppa or a bit of cheesecake or whatever to give proper answers, the more meat we've got to work with, the better we're going to be at putting the magistrate in your shoes, and the better we're going to be at, you know, allowing them to see your life through your eyes and the difficulties you're going to suffer with severely adverse penalty. Anyway, so we got him to fill out that online form, requested the police brief. I prepared my submissions a few days ago, drove up yesterday, stayed here last night, met the client this morning. There's no real conference room here, so we just grabbed a little bit of hard standing around the corner. I ran through my submissions and, you know, the procedure and what he can expect. Went in, I forewarned the prosecutor. Sometimes, you know, if you give the prosecutor the courtesy of letting them know the direction you're going to go in, it gives them, you know, 10 or 15 minutes to mull it over. And whereas if you just ambush them, it's like anyone. If you ambush anyone, they're just going to knee-jerk response in the opposite direction. So, you know, if I had thrown a grenade at the bar table demanding no conviction recorded, and I hadn't even explained my reasonings to the prosecutor beforehand, they're just going to pull the shutters down and, you know, no, don't be stupid. Whereas if you give them the courtesy of A, forewarning them, and B, explaining your position, at least they know where you're coming from. I'm not saying they're, you know, going to be any less vigorous in resisting you, and to be frank, the prosecutor did resist the submission, but you know, I gave him the courtesy of letting him know beforehand. Look, there was a bit of argy-bargy on the no conviction recorded point, because, I mean, what I was asking for was highly unreasonable. You know, it is unreasonable for me to push for no conviction recorded a second time, and I basically admitted that. I used the phrase, I know I'm, you know, grossly overreaching. However, this is my thinking, this is my logic. If you keep some money coming in, it's one less family on the dole queue. Look, ultimately, I was successful on both fronts. A, I was able to persuade the magistrate to give the mandatory minimum 6 months, and B, I was successful in persuading the magistrate to not record a conviction for the second time for his repeat drug driving charge. So 6 months disqualification, no conviction recorded a second time. Client's obviously relieved, very happy. I'm Andrew Wiseman at Roma Magistrates Court. Thanks for watching. Hi, I'm Andrew Wiseman from Wiseman Lawyers, Queensland's only truly dedicated drug, alcohol and traffic offence law firm. If you face loss of licence, loss of vehicle, imprisonment or anything in between at any court in Queensland, we can and will help you today. This is our specialty. This is all we do. Give us a call, 1300 947 352. I look forward to helping you resolve your issue today.
Don't face that court alone. Let the wise man